everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my 2023 financial goals. We're going to talk all about what my financial goals are, how to set them, and how I plan to achieve those goals. This is part of my planning for 2023 kind of mini series. I wanted to do a financial goals video completely apart from my normal goals because I truly believe that financial health is so important and your finances can really impact your life, your health, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of the things. And so I think that when we make financial goals and we set these, it's really kind of taking back control of our finances and controlling what we can control in life. And I feel like that is so empowering and such a cool thing. So recently I've fallen in love with setting goals for my finances. This is just to be an inspiration for you. I'm going to be real and honest about my numbers and what I'm saving for and what I want to do with my finances so that it can be as helpful to y'all as possible. I would love to know what your financial goals are. So if you feel comfortable, I would love it if you would comment one of them down below. I think that the more ideas, the better it is for anyone that comes across this video. Let's go ahead and just get into this video. It is freezing where I live, hence the turtleneck, the sweater. I literally have a blanket on. I live in a back house, and so we don't have a normal heater. We have to put heaters on the floor, but I have to turn it off for this video, and it's 1 degree here, guys, literally 1 degree, and it's freezing. I'm freezing. My hands are so cold. So I have a cup of coffee in my little thermos, and we're just gonna keep trucking along. If I'm talking fast, it's probably to keep myself warm, but that is okay. So first of all, let's talk. I'm looking at my computer here, by the way, and I have my notebook with my financial goals for 2023. Let's talk about kind of how I set my goals and how to get started with setting goals, and then we'll go into the ones that I actually did set. The first thing I did when it came to sitting down and starting to organize my finances was I just assessed them. I simply just looked at all my accounts, my debt, my savings, my net worth, all of my credit cards, and everything like that. Any loans I had out. I think it's just a great time to kind of look at all your accounts. I realize that a lot of people don't look at their accounts and they don't keep up with them. And that's what gets people into trouble because they're not keeping up with them. And then they look one day and they're like, what the heck? Like, I have no money in this account. So it's really, really good to just assess where you are, and this will help you figure out how to set your goals. Maybe you have a lot of credit card debt and you didn't even realize it, and that did happen to me and Aaron at one point. We didn't realize we had a little bit of debt on credit card, but that's where it gets people. It's when you don't realize it and then it just, that APR skyrockets it and you're in a really tough situation. We did catch it in time, but it's a really, really good time to just sit down and be aware of what is going on in all of your accounts, in all of your cards and your credit cards and your debit cards, and just kind of taking inventory of your finances and what is going on. Now that we have assessed where we are financially today and kind of what's going on in our financial world, it's good to sit down and just kind of brainstorm what you would like your finances to look like over the next 1 to 5 years. And also what life situations and circumstances and expenses are coming in the next 1 to 5 years. And then you can set your long-term to short-term. So after you kind of brainstorm your list, kind of put it in the 2 categories. Is this long-term or is this short-term? And the way that I do this is what is most necessary right now. So for me, short-term looks like I need an emergency fund, I need a car, I also need to start saving for a house, but buying a house, investing, that's a little more long-term, and also paying off the cars that we have, that's a little more medium to long-term. So I kind of set those up into 2 different categories. The last thing I like to do before I actually go in and set my goals is reflect on my spending habits. how you're doing with your finances right now and in the past year kind of thing. You need to know how you are with money and your habits and the way that you deal with your money in order to change them or kind of tweak something, or maybe you're going in the right direction. So I like to write down habits that I have. Like, I buy a lot of Amazon. I didn't do so well with my eating out this year. So just kind of brainstorming some things, but I did do well with saving for my emergency fund and paying off debt. So now I'm actually going to go over and read my short, medium, and long-term kind of financial intentions and my focuses. I like to break down a couple focuses for each year in order to kind of simplify my finances. And then we are going to go over my actual 2023 financial goals. So let's go over my intentions. So for year one, I want my focus to be on an emergency fund and saving for a car. Those are my two big things for year one. Next, I want to implement sinking funds and my vault envelope method, which I'll talk about later. And then I want to really focus on spending less and going as minimal as I can in 2023. My medium kind of intentions and focus. Now I kind of have my emergency fund, and I think I'm going to have a second car. Now I want to pay off one of our cars in year two. I want to continue to contribute to an emergency fund, and I want to start saving for a house and some furniture in that year. I set this up based on my circumstances. So we are going to be living back here rent-free for 2 years, we think. And so that is why we are saving, because we won't have rent, and we have a lot more money to be able to save towards all of these areas. So basically our goal before we move out of here is to have a decent emergency fund, have 2 cars, one of them paid off, and started our house savings. And that is kind of our whole goal while we are here, and the whole point that we wanted to stay here was to save money. And then we have kind of the long term, and these are more vague because we don't really know what we're going to be making. I graduate this year and I don't really know what career I'm going to go into. We don't know where we're going to be living after we're here. So these are just more like big picture, and I can reassess and really break them down once we get closer. But the 3 to 5 year mark, I want to be buying a house. I want to start investing money and increasing our 401k contribution. And I also want to pay off all debt except for the house. I do want to mention that when we set financial goals, they are likely to change, and life is fluid. Finances are very fluid. Stuff happens, stuff comes up. You never can plan out your finances 100%. And so that's why I'm really careful about that 3 to 5 year mark, because if I can't buy a house in 5 years, that it's not that I failed. It's just I would like to be, but you don't know what's going to come up in life, and maybe you get to year 2 and you don't want to pay off your debt. You want to start investing sooner. That's okay. Things change. Be fluid with it and just go along with life, because we can't plan out our lives 100%. And if we think we can, we're going to be highly disappointed. If life happens and it gets in the way, if I have a kid earlier than I thought, if I change my mind, there's just things that come up. Maybe we get in an accident, maybe something happens. Like, you just never know. So I want to mention that in setting financial goals, we have to know that life changes, finances changes. We may lose a job, we may get a lot more money. So just have that in the back of your mind when you're making these. Okay, so this is my page, and this is in my Clever Fox planner, is where I keep my financial goals. So I have all my goals over here, and then I have the habits I want to change, my sinking funds that I want to implement in 2023, and then my monthly savings. Let's just talk about our goals. So my first goal is to save 50% of our income, and that's a lot for our income. We only make like $3,000 a month right now. We really have to cut back on our spending to do this, but we want to save $10,000 in our emergency fund and $10,000 for a car down payment. Now, the car one is a little iffy because I may need a car in 6 months, or I may be able to wait a year. It depends on what kind of job I can get and how that's going for us, but we would like to be able to put $10,000 $10,000 down for a car. That's what we did with our last one, and we only had to finance about $12,000, which makes paying it off seem a lot more doable. If we can save for the whole year, we want to save $10,000. The third goal is to buy our second car, maybe at the end of the year. Again, if we need to sooner, we need to. The fourth goal is to implement sinking funds. So I've already started this in 2022. I really think that the best way to stay out of debt is to foresee expenses coming and save for them and put money aside a month for that. The next goal is to implement the Vault envelope system. So I wanted to explain this really quickly. So we actually use SoFi for banking. And if you don't know what they are, they're a high yield checking and savings account. And they have what is called Vault. I know they're called buckets in other places. I've always wanted to do the envelope cash method because I really think that that's very practical and a great way to not go over budget. But I earn 2.5 interest on my checkings and 3.5 interest on my savings. And so I feel like I don't want to give that up. So in order to do both, I actually created vaults as envelopes for each of my budgeting sections. So for groceries, I have a vault. When Aaron's check comes in, we move so much money over into that account, the amount that we had budgeted. And then every time we spend money for groceries, we move that money out of the bucket. And when that bucket hits zero, or when the vault hits zero, we're done for the month. That is it. So it's kind of a cash envelope method, but still gaining interest. We did it this month for the first time and it worked so well. I loved it this month, so I really want to nail that down and get used to doing that in 2023. The next goal that I have for finances is to implement monthly resets and bi-weekly resets. In order to hit my big like $10,000 savings goals, I need to save this much a month. So I need to be aware and resetting and making sure that I'm sticking to my budget and sticking to my savings goals. If something goes wrong, I can kind of course correct and fine tune as we go. I will be doing those monthly resets here on YouTube. So my next goal is to start 401k and HSA contributions. We now have one and we're going to contribute 6% for the first year. That's pretty low, but I think to start, that's great. And then we can start increasing that in year 2, year 3, and whatever. And then the same with HSA, we're contributing, I think, I forgot, but I think it's like $3,000 a year. Aaron's company automatically puts in a certain amount every single year. So it's really good to have that. Even if you don't have health issues, even if you don't have a doctor, also earns interest and is an investment. So what you don't use turns into an investment. So the next one is to stay out of debt. We do have car debt. We have the $12,000 in car debt and we would pay that off, but we need a car more than we need to pay that off. Our goal is to just stay out of credit card debt and consumer debt and anything like that, and sinking funds is a big way to do that. The next goal is to make a second income, and like I said, I'm going to be graduating in August, and so hopefully by the second half of this year I can bring an income to the table. It would be amazing living rent free and having 2 incomes. That would really set us up. And to go with that, I have the financial goal of being able to monetize my YouTube. This is something that I do for fun and I don't expect to make a bunch of money off of it because I'm new to it and I'm just learning right now and I'm not doing it for money, but it is a goal to be able to monetize it a little bit and be able to just save anything and everything that I make off of it. That would be amazing. My next goal is very simple. It is to stick to a budget. No matter how little your goal is, if it's a goal, you should put it down. And so maybe like with all these other ones, sticking to a budget seems like dumb or like obvious, but it's still hard to do. And it's definitely hard to do as newlyweds. So that is one of our financial goals that is on here. My next financial goal is to embrace financial minimalism and really live that lifestyle of being more frugal and spending less and cutting back expenses. And then my last financial goal is to increase my financial literacy, specifically about investing. investments. I'm not going to invest yet because I think that I need more of an emergency fund first, and I need things in life first, but I want to know about investing so that in the future when I am ready, I am knowledgeable about it and I can make the best decision moving forward. So those are my financial goals for 2023. The last thing I wanted to talk about with finances for 2023 is before the year starts, it's really good to kind of have a financial system in place or an idea of a financial system that you want to follow. And what I mean by this is you kind of got to know how you want to budget, what method you want to use, and how you're going to keep track of that and how you're going to track your expenses. How are you going to keep up with your goals? Just simple things like that. It doesn't have to be complicated. Basically, I know that I'm going to use Excel to budget monthly, and then I'm going to budget each paycheck, and I'm going to track it using Mint, and I will come back every month and bi-weekly to kind of assess where I'm at. That is kind of baseline what my financial system is and how I'm going to be achieving these goals. So I just wanted to encourage you to come up with at least a budget or a way that you're going to track your money and a place that you want to do it. So my place that I'm going to be keeping my financial goals is in two places. I'm going to be doing it in the back of my Clever Fox planner, and then I'm also going to be keeping it in Notion. So yeah, that is my 2023 financial goals, everything like that. I hope that this video encouraged you and made sense to you, at least inspired you in any way. Thank you guys for watching, and I cannot wait to keep up with these goals and do monthly resets as the year comes. That is one thing, like sitting down and planning financially, while it may not be in your wheelhouse, while it may be a little kind of intimidating, it really does get you excited for the year. It makes you feel in control. It makes you want to do better. It makes you want to reach these. And remember to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. I hope y'all have a great New Year season and Christmas season, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye guys.